Yo, what up? Welcome to the Digital Asset Podcast. I'm your host, Sebastian, and this is the channel where we talk about the latest in emerging tech and street culture. And we're here to really blow your mind. So I've got one of my homies in the house, and I want him to introduce himself. Go ahead. Tell the people who you are.
What's up? I'm Nathan. How's it going?
What up? And we're going to be talking about some crazy stuff today. And namingly, we're going to be talking about 2 Chainz. He just dropped a bag on copying an entire tech conference in Atlanta.
That's crazy.
And we're going to talk about that and more after we give this very special shout out to our sponsor at Starfish Community. Starfish Community is a co-working space and community hub for emerging technology pioneers to connect, collaborate, and build. They host blockchain, crypto, artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, virtual reality, and augmented reality, and other builders in the emergent web space. They do some awesome events, and if you'd like to find out more about Starfish Community, you can visit their website at starfishcommunity.com. Back to this. Yeah, we've got some thoughts here, and so 2 Chainz getting into the tech game. What do you think?
That's crazy. Just because you never really see African American representation in tech, just whether it be in the workforce or now things are being a little bit more inclusive, but overall you just don't see that in the higher up industry part of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. And I think I'd like to see a lot more of that. And it's dope to see people from the culture, really coming in and setting an example. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, he hopes that it will turn into the next South by Southwest. And I think that's possible.
That would be cool, especially just for his community, Atlanta.
Absolutely, yeah.
That would be a lot of tourism brought into the city, a lot of money in that little time period that this conference would be for. I think it'll benefit that surrounding community by a lot.
You got to imagine that every single year, people are going to be inspired by this conference. They maybe show up to hear an artist and end up thinking about tech as a consequence.
I think that is perfect. I think that's why it's an amazing conference, and it's cool to see 2 Chainz getting into that and bringing that to his community,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this isn't his first forte into tech either. He's already invested in Lyft, Lime, and Airbnb. So not new to the tech game, but it's kind of a surprise, right?
Yeah, those are all pretty big companies, pretty successful. It's kind of crazy that he has investments in all those companies.
Yeah, he's not the only one too. There's a couple other artists like Snoop Dogg, who's got investments in Robinhood, and you've got Nas, I think, that's invested there as well.
Jay-Z has Tidal.
Jay-Z does have Tidal. That's a huge one. I would say that E40 is up on game on the tech shit. So I think that we can really look forward to some artists entering and backing tech and making it a little bit less nerdy than what it's been, because we've seen 2 Chainz with the VR headset on Most Expensive as shit. Am I right?
Yeah, that's crazy that he showed off that headset. It's a big flex.
Yeah, big flex. And really, let's talk a little bit more about the conference, A3C conference. It's a 5-day event that comes every October. And they've got a crazy lineup. And they've had crazy lineups in the past.
What are some of the artists?
Obviously, 2 Chainz as new co-owner. I would imagine he's going to put on one hell of a show, and he's going to have probably something to say, right? And I believe he's doing the closing keynote, so that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
And so outside of that, you got Megan Thee Stallion, you've got Lil Gotit. I think Gary Vee and Charlamagne the God is going to do a panel.
T.I.
Yeah,
Jermaine Dupri.
Rakim. So old cats and new cats, which is cool. And so, we think that this could be a big thing for Atlanta, bringing in tourism, and I'd love to see some entrepreneurs in Atlanta, blow up the real estate in their neighborhood. You know what I mean? Instead of them being affected by someone else.
Yeah.
It's building a tech.
It's amazing that he's equipping his community with this knowledge, just because you can't work on something unless you know that it exists. You know, you can, like, there are certain things that we've seen at some of the conferences, like Ultra Haptics, which is in-air haptics with no gloves, no nothing. So you just put your hands over a pad.
Yeah.
And you're in a game, like in a VR game. You can see your hands, and then on top of that, you can feel things that happen to your hands. So if your hand's caught on fire, you'd feel heat. At some point, you put your hands inside of a painting, and it comes out as bones, and you can feel the line.
Yeah, definitely.
As it's changing.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Shifting. So, I mean, but like to know about that, you have to be able to go to these places. And
exactly.
So it's been inaccessible for a lot of people. So it's amazing that he's helping to bring that to his community and blow that up. And then also empowering those people to work on things like that and have that capability of avoiding that situation where you're being put out of your own neighborhood because another person's tech boom is hitting your town.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's interesting because like at the Oculus conference, they were saying that some people's first experience with virtual reality will actually be at the workplace. And so for people in Atlanta who may be, exposed to this conference, it might be at this festival, right? So I think that that's really dope that a lot of people are going to be exposed to this new tech. They can see how it's possible to be a part of it, just as 2 Chainz built an entire album inside of virtual reality for the Trap House album, and kind of brought you into his world and into his storytelling, and you could pick up a cup of lean and you can spark your blunt and and go room to room and listen to the different tracks, and as you leave the room you hear like the song in the background ending. So it was cool to experience an album that way, and so it's going to be interesting to see more artists get involved with the storytelling aspect. So yeah, big shout out to 2 Chainz for bringing the future to Atlanta.
Honestly,
we can't wait to see
that's crazy
what happens.